Hello everybody and welcome back to the Charlian Forum. My name is Chris and I know it's been a while since I've made a video, but patch 7.3 has arrived. The big thing for me, especially with the crossover kind of audience that I have on this channel, is the new Alliance raid released, Echoes of Vana'diel, the Second Wing. The Second Walk Sandoria has released, and I ran it first thing right when the server came up. I recorded that footage. I didn't do a live voiceover or recording over it just because I kind of wanted to focus on what I was doing. But I'll have it playing behind me, so you can see that footage. And it was, right when it came out, so I had no idea what was going on. But I think that it was really good. I thought it was fun. I've heard some people saying it was a downgrade from the first one, and I'm not really sure what they're talking about personally. I thought it was really great. The zones were really pretty. The bosses I think were fun. I think the first boss, Kieran, is a little easy. He dies a little fast, but I thought all of them were really interesting and they had some fun mechanics. And it was full of references that, as an 11 player, I really enjoyed. It was great to finally see orcs and, like traditional goblins from 11 in the game. There was some really cool, like, Notorious Monster Easter eggs. Like, there was Poison Hand Nadgad and Jagged Ear Jack made an appearance. I thought it was really nice. The overall presentation of it was really great, and I just really enjoyed it. I think I'm gonna look forward to farming it. I think that I really enjoyed farming the first one for a while, until I kind of got what I needed from it. And this one I don't think is going to be any different. It's full of stuff for 11 players to enjoy. There's like little like lore notes that are on the floor that like talk about, oh, I didn't get what I wanted to drop from this BCNM, and it's just such a shame because it's such a waste of seals when nothing drops, but I'll just try again, and it's like, that makes me think. I've been playing 11 a lot lately, and it just kind of makes me feel a certain way, seeing that stuff represented in 14 now. It's really cool. The gear sets, I think, look really nice. I think they picked some good ones. In in my own perfect world, every job would get its own gear set, and they would be based on like the artifact relic and Empyrean gear for the job that kind of correlates. But I know that that's pretty unrealistic. They are working within the constraints of the 14 gear system, which has the roll gears. So it's just a little different, but I do think they picked good ones. I really like the Dancer AF being used for the ranged, phys ranged and scouting. Really nice. Preesh being the striking gear is fun. I think the healing and casting gear being the errant, I think it's called the errant, like the level 72 set or whatever it is. I think that's really fun. And then I'm not crazy about the fending and the maiming gear. I know it's based on Zeed. I don't love the upscale. I think it's like it's not my personal cup of tea, right? But I've seen a couple people say they're really excited for it. It's sort of insectoid, which is like an armor that we don't really have a lot of, like that style, that design. So that is something that, somebody out there is really into. But yeah, I thought it was nice. The vistas were really nice. The boss fights were fun. And the like ending where you're in Altayu and you're kind of looking out over sea, that like really got to me, because like getting to see an 11 is such a huge accomplishment. Getting through Chains of Promathia and finishing that story is like massive. I play 11 right now on a private server. I play on Horizon. I played retail for many years, and I don't love kind of where retail is at now. You know, I very fondly remember, you know, coming home from school and getting on my Xbox 360 and playing Treasures of Ottergan with my friends, and just like that was like the era of 11 that I was really invested in and sort of want to relive. And so playing on Horizon really does that for me. And you know, I just recently finished COP on Horizon finally, and like it, when you first zone into Altair after you finish the airship fight with Tenzin, it is like this sigh of relief, because you're like, I'm here, you know, I'm finally here. Like, I've been doing this quest chain for 100 hours, and I'm finally at this zone, and I only have a few more quests to go, you know, and like I got that same feeling of like seeing Altair in 14. I just like got this overwhelming feeling of like, whoa, you know, it's like, it's here, it's real, I can look at it. I really wish that I could walk around in C. I'm really hoping that the third wing has, you know, the ability to explore Altair a little bit, because they kind of make reference to, at the end, like the final cutscene, they kind of make reference to like the gods. So I'm really wondering if we're not going to end up fighting Altana and Promathia, you know, and maybe end up fighting like the 11 reflection of Odin, you know, because he's kind of like the penultimate bad guy in a lot of the stuff, or like Atomos or something, you know. There's a lot of options, but I really hope that if we do fight Promathia, we get to like explore Altair and like go through the Grand Palace of Huzoi and like the Garden of Ruamet and all that stuff, and like there's just so much cool stuff that they could do with the Altair area, and I really hope they do something with it in the third wing. It was just really fun to see as an 11 player. So other than that, though, the 7.3 content as a whole so far, you know, it's day 2. There's still plenty more to come in the coming months. You know, they didn't like confirm this anywhere as far as I've seen, but my understanding is that they're going to roll this patch cycle out kind of like they did with the last one, where you know, 0.31 is going to come out like in a month, and then 0.35 will come out in a month, and we'll get those like monthly drops of content. You know, last time we got Cosmic Exploration and Occult Crescent. I believe this time we're getting Cosmic Exploration, and then we're getting the new Deep Dungeon, Wanderer's Palace, or no, that's not what it's called. Well, whatever it's called, you know. Wanderer's Traverse, maybe. But that's, I'm really looking forward to both of those things. You know, Cosmic Exploration is really fun for me for a while. I'm not like a big crafting and gathering guy, but I do enjoy it. And Cosmic, I know that like that content is very important for a lot of people. There's some people in my static who to this day are still spending like all day in Cosmic Exploration. And so, you know, for them, that's a huge piece of content, and that's content that I think needs to exist for people to enjoy. I'm really excited for the Deep Dungeon to come. It has that new Giga mode or whatever Ozma called it. I forget what they called it, you know, and then the relic weapon steps also getting updated will be huge. So there's a lot to look forward to with this patch cycle. But right now, you know, we've got the new treasure maps, we've got the new crafting and gathering gear, we've got the new sets, we've got all the new crafting and gathering nodes, we've got the new trial, the new extreme, the new MSQ, and the new dungeon, all dropped yesterday. I thought the MSQ was great. You know, for as much as I disliked the 7.0 MSQ, you know, I thought that like the story I think the story they're trying to tell with Dawntrail, especially the 7.0 experience, was fine. Like the story itself was okay. The issue was the writing and the pacing just felt like all over the place. The actual structure of the MSQ was bad, not the story they were trying to tell, if that makes sense for me. But I think that the patches have been progressively getting better and better and better. And this last one I think was great. It was an awesome wrap up, good little bow. Um, you know, it gave the Warrior of Light kind of like the hero moment to smash that repository at the end and defeat the Endless. Like, that felt earned. It felt deserved. It reminded me of like what it felt like for my character to be a part of the story again, which hasn't kind of been the case, or wasn't the case in 7.0, and has sort of been building back up to that. And then it's of course revealed that Calyx has been being instructed by an Ascian. Duh, you know, we all saw that coming. Not a big surprise. Probably Pasturat, if I had to guess. Just because we haven't really seen much of Pasturat. So it's really interesting. It's building to something really cool, I think. You know, I think that they were cooking, and 7.0 was like the Subway bread when you walk in, like that was just the smell, you know, and then you actually like sit down for the meal. And now we're getting the meal, you know. So it's been really good. I enjoyed the MSQ a lot. The dungeon is really good. I love the aesthetics of the dungeon. All the boss fights, but especially the second boss, is really unique, really cool. It's fun to see them like just trying some different stuff finally. You know, I know that like the structure of the dungeon isn't any different, and like people will bitch and moan about that. I get it, you know, I understand, but like, they're at least trying to do something different with these bosses. You know, the second boss has each individual party member fighting their own boss, and sort of being 100% solely responsible for their own situation. You know, you can dodge basically all the damage that comes out in that fight, except for raid wides, and like the healers can reach everybody and heal them. But you can't attack the other people's bosses until yours is dead. So just like a very fun way to inject like a lot of personal responsibility into a dungeon boss. And, you know, I really enjoy that design. The new trial is really cool. I haven't gotten to do the extreme yet. I think I'm going to do it tonight with my static. I watched some videos though. It looks great. The normal mode is really fun. Again, there's like this emphasis on putting everybody in their own place and having them fight their own ads. And with all of the changes they've been making to AoE size and AoE damage output, it makes me believe that they're probably going to lean more into this individual responsibility, like design philosophy, going forward. I really just don't see them making all these changes for nothing, you know. The Phoenix Down change is interesting. I think that having the Phoenix Down change, like being able to use it in casual content, opens the game up a little bit as far as like a design concept is concerned. It gives them a little more space to give healers more stuff, because they, you know, now we don't have to rely on just healers or red mage or summoner to res us. You know, speaking of which, red mage and summoner both got buffs this go around. They, you know, looking at the job guide, they sort of give an explanation for like what they're thinking when they do these buffs. So like, I love this, right? So when they do changes like this, that to me shows that they are paying attention, they are listening. You know, because what everyone always says about casters, the caster role as a general statement is like, red mage has so much utility and so much power in prog, but as soon as you get comfortable on a fight, everybody understands the fight, you just switch to black mage because it does more damage, you know, or you just switch to picto because it does more damage. And you don't really need the raise at that point, right? Like you've learned the fight well enough that the 2 healer raises you get every now and then are going to be fine, if you even need them at all. So I think that like all of these changes, generally speaking, to me, the explanations make perfect sense. It shows that they're listening. You know, the Reaper change is great. I just put like my most recent video I put out was talking about how the time, like the stalling you have to do between enshroud windows on Reaper, that 15 seconds is like brutal, because you just sit there and do nothing for like 6 or 8 seconds. You just like refresh stuff and just wait. So they changed it to a 5-second recast, so now like double enshroud windows don't feel terrible to do, which is incredible. You know, Viper, they reduced the AoE cleave output slightly, which I think is fine. You know, Viper has been like completely and totally dominant in AoE damage output. Like M6S basically is a Viper's dream world. And having the ability to level that out slightly in the melees, I think, is a good idea. You know, I don't think that anybody who's reasonable is going to complain that Viper is doing 5% less damage to secondary targets with their attacks. They didn't even nerf their initial target output. Just the fall off was increased by 5%. And like, who cares? You know, it's like less than 300 potency, I think, across your entire Reawaken combo got dropped, and only on secondary targets. So it's like, if that's what they need to do to make people not just like automatically play Viper and M6S if they want to be efficient, then like I'm okay with that. You know, Machinist finally got some buffs. Bard got a couple buffs. I still think Machinist needs more. You know, Machinist is still in like a pretty dire spot. I don't know that numbers are going to fix it. I really think that Machinist needs to just be redesigned again. And like, hopefully that happens. But in the meantime, buffing some single target potencies is like at least a band-aid, right? Like, we're not just letting the wound fester like we have been. And that's great. You know, I already talked about magical range DPS. Picto got some changes to hammer. And I read like a very brief thing on the balance about it. It basically said that, you know, now using hammer outside of your burst window is like not a loss, and using it inside is actually always a gain now. So that's great. You know, like Picto now kind of bridging the gap between where it was before the nerf, where it was like you don't ever want to cast, you just want to hit hammer nonstop forever if you can, and then after the nerf, which is like basically your 1, 2, 3 is the only thing in your kit that does damage. And so now they're sort of meeting in the middle and finding that middle ground for Picto, which is exactly what I figured was going to happen. It was going to be way too strong when it came out. It would get nerfed and be a little bit too weak, and so now they're pulling it back into the center, and I think that, you know, Picto is in a great spot. All the healers got increased range of things. Pretty much all of their AoEs got a little bit bigger, which is nice. I know that White Mage got some buffs. You know, there's just some really nice stuff in here, and I think that all of the justifications are like very, very good to me. All of these seem perfectly reasonable to me. So job changes are good, dungeons good, trials good, MSQ is good, the new Alliance raid is good. I think all of the new gear sets are good. I haven't done the new treasure dungeon yet, but it seems like that's a lot of fun. I always really liked the like roulette style ones. Those are kind of my favorite ones. I don't love the door ones. So I'm excited to kind of do those. Right now I've been selling my maps because they're worth like insane money when they first come out. I just transferred servers. I don't know if you can see at the top there. I used to be on Hyperion. Finally jumped to Aether because it finally became uncongested. A couple servers opened up, and so I just decided to jump in. So it was real Hyperion and Primal, but your boy's an Aether gamer now. So yeah, I mean, I'm trying to buy a house again. I had to demolish my last one on Hyperion, so I am trying to make as much gil as I can to purchase a new piece of land. But yeah, I mean, I've just been, you know, I've been playing the game. I've been having fun playing the game, but I haven't like felt the desire to like make public facing content about it just because of how intensely negative things have been lately. And you know, I won't lie, like I've participated in that. There are things about this game that are not perfect. There are things about this game that are bad. There are things about this game that should be criticized and can be criticized and need to be criticized so that they can be corrected and that we can have a great game. But it's just become like exhausting, right? It's become very hard to believe that people are engaging in good faith, because there's so many people that aren't engaging in good faith, right? So it's just been daunting, I guess is the word I would use, to like even think about making content for 14 in the past couple months. You know, I have scripts written for a couple guides. I have one of them, like all the footage I need recorded for it. I just haven't had the motivation to sit down and make it. You know, it's just, I don't know. I guess it's hard to find the motivation to like feel like you should spend time making something when you feel like people are going to hate it, just based on the nature of what it is, right? So I don't know, but I'm kind of getting over it. I'm back, you know. You know, I'm back to having fun with the game, and it's refilled me with a little bit of vigor to make some content. So hopefully not that long of a break for the next video, and I'll get them out when they're ready. You know, I still want to make sure that my guides are edited the way I like to edit them. It's a lot of extra work to edit them the way I do, but I've become pretty attached to that style. So more to come for sure. Plenty of stuff in the tubes that I'm working on. I want to do another Final Fantasy XI recap, but those are very daunting projects. I mean, the Seekers of Adeline one took me like a month and a half. To just gather the clips and put them together and edit it and write the script and refine the script and edit the script and record the script. And, you know, those are huge projects, but I really want to do another one for Voracious Resurgence and Rhapsodies of Vana'diel, but we'll see. You know, I'm chugging along. Things might be a little slower than they were before, but I'm working. So thank you guys for sticking around, and all the new people, welcome if this is your first new video, and I will see you guys on the next one.